Hey, welcome, my galactic brothers and sisters, to this esoteric television show called Electrical Theology, Esoteric Life Coaching. Appreciate each and every one of you showing up today. If you're new to this channel, stick with me and I'll explain the universe to you in a 30-minute video. All right. Uh, I've been doing the esoteric teaching and studying for over 50 years. I have backgrounds in a host of things ranging from health, alternative medicines, to paranormal, supernatural, computers, technology, electronics, mechanicals, you name it, I've got backgrounds in most of them. It's just a show that shares esoteric knowledge for the purpose of enlightenment. Enlightenment is just to get more God energy into your body so that then you can manifest the things you want here on earth. So we're going to understand today in this Thursday class of how to manifest. And the way we manifesting is normally on Fridays, but we have to have the precursors or the prerequisites to understanding how to manifest, or how to bring something from the no-thing world of that into this world. And I know if you're new, this can be a little confusing, but if you're being here every week, it's going to make a lot of sense. And for this class today, I recommend going back and watching the videos on that, this, Shambhala, and also the realms of possibility. That'll help you understand how we manifest things from nothing into something. Everything that's here on earth that you see in the tangible physical world came from somewhere. I used to be fascinated to find out, okay, how was a candy bar made? What fascinated me more was not so much how the candy bar was made, but what were the mechanisms that made the candy bar itself. Not the nutrients and all that good stuff, but I'm talking machinery. Who built the machinery? And all that machinery is, guess what? Ran by electricity. Where does electricity come from? We really don't know. We don't know how it works or why it works. We can measure it and do a lot of things with it. We can repurpose it. We can rewrite it. We can measure it. Like I said, we can do a lot with it, but we don't really understand it as a whole. But we do know how to use it. And so in this class today, we're going to delve deeper into the cosmic schematics, the universal blueprints, and the wiring diagram. Take note that the gram is capitalized. Tetragramman, tetra meaning four, or polyhedron, four-sided pyramid, if you will. And gram, tetragramman, is God's name. Gram is also gram or weight and measure, so there's God energy in everything, which for me is electricity. So we'll understand the path that this takes and the process of it, and then the path through us, which is God coming to us, then is the path of which it comes, we become the empath, the energy in motion, EM, energy in motion path of that. Now let's look at this grid really quick here, guys. You see in the background, you do see the grid that we've shown in multiple videos, but we need to understand in the bigger picture why I've taught you in the manner of which I'm teaching you. Why am I doing it in specific orders? Right? In order to run a production company or make a movie, you have to have and understand editing, acting, production, executive producing, finances, set building, clothing, hiring of the actors, so on and so forth. I can go on forever with this, but there's lots of different parts, but all of it make up one movie. And so this is a moving picture that you're in right now. And these are the main components of which we are moving energy to make our own movie. And so we have thatness that we've talked about, this Shambhala hierarchy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, again, go watch those videos. I'll put a link down below so you can watch those videos. And in order for that then is what creates a order. It may seem chaotic, but it's an order to that chaos. And that chaos then manifests. And that manifests comes down into us humans, where we read everything. We read books, we read each other's energies, we get readings from other people. Reading is understanding what's coming. We can read the words on the page, but collectively they create a story. And then when people don't understand their own story, they come to me, or people like me, to get readings. And then through that reading, I introduce them to the esoteric realm, which for me is the electrical theology, esoteric life coaching. And so through this, we understand who we are, how we are, the self, self-worth. We understand framing, how to look at ourselves differently, change our perceptions. We've had classes on each one of these so far. There's about 60 videos so far. You can take a look at these. And then we understand how to enjoy life, recreation, or as I put it here, is realms of expanding consciousness. So in this video, we have to understand the realms. Right? The realms are what's making the grid, or the realms. Different realms create the grids, and the different grids create different subgrids, if you will. And then once we understand how all that relates, we can then relate to our ships. We can have relationships. We have communications. We communicate with the one. We communicate with the frequencies of other ships, the galactic ships that are out there, the divine ships, the big ships, the medium ships, the small ships, right? And all that then circle back around. And each one of these are integral to each one. Each one of these make a whole picture. None of them are separate. I'm just breaking them down so it makes sense. If I tried to explain all this together, it's just overwhelming and complicated for most. So I've broken it down into sections, and 6 of them. And you understand that each one of these squares are also a circle. And then that circle, the square and the circle are made from the triangle. Right? We understand that the triangle is you, your father and the mother energy, transmitter and receiver. It's the dominance and submissiveness, being able to communicate and listen deeply, and that's all to you. And then that creates this creates this pyramid, or this fire in the middle, which is you. So what you're doing when you work on yourself, you're bringing in the divine with consciousness and awareness and sentiency that you are the one. Make sense? Sounds like the Matrix there, huh, guys? So the realms of expanding consciousness, we talked about the mediumship. The readings involve tarot, the I Ching, the bones, cards, tea leaves, colors. We can read anything on this planet. I can read, you give me something, I'll read it, and I'll tell you all about your life. Why? Because you're just a product of all the energy behind it. So however you are presenting yourself in the physical, mental, or spiritual, I can read that. Why? Because it's frequency. It's not that hard, guys. And then we can manifest what we want, right? And then this is all part of the esoteric coaching, which is self-worth, core values. And the core, and all these words that I speak are the core. All these words are the same that I'm speaking: core, soul, sun, solar. It's all the same, right? This is the fire in the middle, that you become that fire in the middle, right? The father, mother, you, and then that creates the pyramid, which then gives you the fire in the middle, which then you're able to transmit, which then you can now become a mediumship. You went from a small little ship here on Earth to a medium ship, which then gives you the capacity, because now your cells in the body have more electricity. You can transmit and amplify that signal to make contact with the larger ships, the alien beings out there, the other galactic brothers and sisters, right? And once you understand this realm, then we go to a higher realm, a higher frequency realm that then deals with the interdimensionals, the elementals, the esoteric, right? The further out, it's actually going further into where it all came from, which is that, right? And that's what esoteric is going within, tapping into the secrets within. But we're learning this in a certain order, right? And there's that fire in the middle over here in this pyramid. You see this fire coming out because it's father, mother, you. And so that is the basic building blocks that comes out of that. And now that we understand that we have to then start with our own conscious building block, getting back to the source, right? We're the final product. We're the candy bar, but then how were we made? So we're going to become aware of how we were made, and all the processes and the plans and the path of which it takes. And this just, again, goes into the universal grids. The universal grid, the cosmic grid, they're all just forming, right? And the first form that we get into in manifesting, or realms of expanding consciousness, or the secret grid, understanding all this stuff. I know some of you look at this symbol and go, oh my God, it's satanic worship. No, those are fear-based things. This is just angles This is just frequency. This, if you look at it, this is a polyhedron, which is a four-sided pyramid, like Giza pyramid, right? The four angles here are connecting. And then the pyramid is the basic building block. The square that you see is in here. All these are micro squares, which we'll get into. So you have the triangle, the square, and the circle, right? The threefold consciousness, the fourfold man. Right? That's what it represents. There's nothing evil about this, guys. It's just energy, a representation, a static energy, a representation of a rotating cosmic flow from that, right? But we need to understand this and not fear it. Right? It's just mathematics and science. And we went over the basic structures of the electrical trinity. I'm not going to go over it again, but y'all can look at that and break it down. If you have any trouble understanding it, comment down below, let me know. And then we understood what realm you're in. If you don't know where you're at, then if you're all about selfishness, if you're all about I, me, whiffling, what's in it for me, the physical, just the physical life, and that's how you want to live, and your words are want, live, need, desire, wish, intend, affirm, try, trust, faith, belief. These are all low frequency words. I'm not saying they're bad or good, they're just low frequency, right? They're 9 volt. Right? You can't amplify 9 volts too much unless you have the step-up transformer. So understanding this will help us transform our perception and our thoughts and behaviors. And because of that, then we're able then to go to a new realm of consciousness. This is how we expand our consciousness. Expand ions. Right? This is myopic, synoptic, panoptic. We're going to get that bigger view. Right? So let's just sort of get a understanding of, again, I'm just showing you these symbols. These symbols are portals, they're gateways, but they're also wormholes. They're also that. If I want to take that and put that there, that then creates Shambhala. These are all portals. These are all what's coming out of that into this. This is just spiraling energy. This is spiraling energy, and with it, it then creates patterns. All right, and each one of these patterns, each one of these realms, and each one of these portals, all create a passageway back to that. Or if you're in the medium ships, your planet, your home planet, you can get onto alien ships out there. And I don't like to call them alien because they were here first, but you get what I'm saying. Our brothers and sisters in the galaxy, we can hop on their ships. We can be transported up, right? Close encounter of the fourth kind, we can interact with them, right? If you're open to it. And so again, there's the pyramid, four-sided pyramid, looking down on it, into the portal, into the square, into the dimension. So everything's represented here from the best I can in symbol form of how everything's working. So we start off with that basic dimensional grid, right, without any of the numbers, without any of the colors, without any words or symbols that we're putting on them. This, and again, we can put circles in all these. We could put pyramids in each one of these. You get the point. That it's all just coming out of that. It's it was pressed out of that into this world, and this begins to create a thing from no thing. Even though the thing is in an etherical state or astral state, it eventually comes into the causal state, right, which is us. Again, look behind here, you see the grid, and you see the colors, the frequencies, but you see the basic ionic essence, right? Each one of these realms that were coming up here, each one of these circles are an ion, right? It comes out of here, and we squared the circle, there's the circle, that's an ion, right? We're the fire in the middle that's promoting or moving energy from the triangular or the tetragrammatic into the circular, right? If I put these triangles up here, these triangles will create a circle, right? So the more triangles are spinning, they create circles, right? And as they create circles, you get more circles or spirals. This is spiraling ions. And then you get the spiraling ions coming out of here, guys. Is this making sense to you? Yeah? Hopefully you're receiving what I'm transmitting here. And so each one of these are just realms that are beginning to take shape, and from the no thing into the thing world. And we looked at the ionics, right? All this is just, I'm putting it to words, but these are all ions in different circular patterns, different cycles. They come in different patterns and shapes as they continue to cycle. Okay? Just like dropping multiple rocks into a pond, you get different cycles. Right? Some interact, some contrast with each other, some join the other ones, but you get the point. So each one of these are separate rocks being thrown into the cosmic waters. We're not going to go over it because we've already been over it a lot of times, but these are all ionic words. So in unlimited, inspired, each one of these have ions on it. Unlimitation, inspiring or inspiration, reception, right? I can put ions on each one of these because words are just the vibratory, audible, what we hear coming from the electron spin resonance that is part of the construct that comes from that. I know it sounds scientific, guys, but we need this basic building block in order to transmit, receive, understand ourselves, and be able to communicate with others, and then off-worlders, and understand why you're even here on this planet, this circular planet, right? So now I'm just this is the dimensional grid. So I'm breaking all what I just showed you in the previous slides. I'm just showing you a different format of this. And so this dimension or dimensions, ions, again, two men's communication, two people communicating, and sharing electricity with God. And this is this is showing us how it's done. So I'm showing you how you can create or manifest from nothing to something, right? So again, we have this Shambhala hierarchy. These are all sort of the non-form, and then it comes from the God into the form, and God forms the planet, because that's according to the plan. Remember, we talked earlier about the plan, the planet, the process, and there's plenty of videos on that, but this is part of the plan. And understand that we have the 7 frequencies, right? We looked at the grids before. There's 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 7s equal 21. This is pure potential. All this is just ions of pure electric God floating around, and then it's going to be up to us to tell God how to form. That's not the anthropomorphic God you believe in. This is an electrical God. This is, I can tell the electricity to go to a certain apparatus. I'm telling it where to go by plugging it in. So all I'm doing is plugging in, accessing God energy, and then it's up to me and my free will, right? My will, wisdom, and action, go watch that video, of how to now transform, right? Step up or step down electricity to form it into this physical realm from the non-physical realm, from the no thing to the thing world. So I'm showing you how to attract thingness, but you have to understand the entire process, where something came from nothing. So again, we have the mechanical realm, which is the physical realms, and most people look at this as the past, because this up here, the unfolding moment, is in the spiritual electrical realm. As it folds, as it is the unfolding moment, certain things will take shape in this physical realm, or it has folded in on itself. That's why we have terms like it's 5-fold, 6-fold, 7-fold. God will give you 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold. Right? These folds, right? Because it's space folding in on it, or it's energy folding in on itself. Right? And with each wrapping or winding, it becomes what we call more physical. You're physical, but when you understand that, you're not understanding life. We're going to unfold that moment, right? With that you thought was in your past, which is really not in your past. It's just your thoughts are in the present thinking about the past. But the past doesn't exist, neither does the future. There's only an unfolding moment. And that's how we're going to manifest, is understanding that we're just going to unfold energy as it spirals in, as it spirals all around us. All right? So this is the grid. These are the realms, and they keep going and going and going. Each this block here behind it, the big grid, is multidimensional, as we've shown before in the slide before. And I'm just breaking the dimensions down. As you can see, one dimension here, another whole bazillion dimensions there, and then one in the back. Right? Very shaded. You have to look it up. See the shade back there. So these are the same as this. This is the same as that. You get my language now? And then the God then produces through the portals, through the gateways, which we can get into the realms of possibility to be able to form and shape no thing into thingness, God energy into thingness, into God thingness. And so these are the 7 frequencies that we have to do in each realm, in each stage. Right? And that's what we're going to talk about in detail. So we'll sort of take all that clutter off of it, and there you are in the 7 frequencies: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Call them chakras, call them whatever you want, I don't care. There's 7 frequencies. And these are the 7 frequencies. Now each frequency has, we're going to just simplify it by saying it has 9 realms, 3, 6, 9. In each one of these realms, you have to go through each one of these electrical realms to amp up your body. You have to go in and delve into yourself. You have to deal with mother-father issues. That's all down here. Remember, father, mother. Making sense? And so we have to delve deeply. And I know it's going to hurt for some of y'all. But again, every thought you have is just a made-up thought. It's an opinion. And if you wound it, it becomes a wound. That wine becomes a wound because a wine becomes a wound, and that wound is the same word as wound. So you just wounded yourself up too tight. So we're going to unwind, like craniosacral therapy. We're going to unwind, right? So here we're just beginning to max out our physical life, and then we're going to start going inside, and that's the esoteric teachings that I teach here. But we have to go into each one of these: red, orange, yellow, green. We have to go into the red root chakra stuff, to use that language. We have to go into family and relationships and how we relate. We have to go into self, 3rd chakra stuff, 4th chakra heart, right? We got to unfold the undefended heart, right? So each one of these, we have to go through these stages, and these stages then create a realm. And that realm is then a higher amplitude or frequency modulation, which then gives us higher power. So the higher power can then transmit and receive through mediumship. That's why we're learning mediumship, because once you start doing this work, you're going to make contact with beings. Not bad or good beings, those are all personal perceptions of inner reflection of yourself. Right? I'm just going into this neutral. Remember, father, mother, you neutral? I'm neutral. And so when I go into this realm, I literally have a neutral charge. Right? My neutrons, if you will. Right? And this basic building block is Adam, ADAM, and the religious right-brainers. And it's the ATOM and the left-brainers. It's the same to me. And so once you understand and read the schematics or the biblical or ancient texts of any religion, they're all giving you a schematic or a blueprint, right, of how to wire yourself or reconnect yourself to the divines. Again, this is just a picture, a drawing my daughter did. She's a good drawer. She's a good artist. And this Shambhala hierarchy, so we're pure energy, and then we're continually creating cycles. And then that cycle then has wiring, which then creates windings, that then create arcing, that then creates a consciousness, that then steps it down into 7 frequencies. Right? So it expands, the pan is the all, it presses itself out, and then it becomes the 7 frequencies. Right? I've shown this chart before, so it's nothing new to y'all. And now we begin to understand this grid a little bit more. Now we're bringing these ions. I showed this before, but I wanted to show you that your first thought until your inception, your outcome, your present state to your desired state. We all start at the one. We're the fool. We're the newbie. We're the neophyte, right? So we don't know anything. We're not even initiate yet because we haven't consciously initiated anything. We've learned different degrees. We've taken degrees from school, but the degrees are all an angle of frequency, right, that we can transmit from. So each one of these are 7, 3 rows of 7, there's 21. 2 and 1 equals 3, right? And I can keep doing this all day long, and I just still end up with the 3, 6, and 9. But eventually we understand the ionic form, we understand the grid, we understand how the energy is coming in, and then we basically understand that energy as it's coming in from the massive grids or the dimensions from that. These are all different reiterations of that, from the astral to the etheric to the causal, whatever. And as it comes in, you see this line across here in the mental ancestral realm. At this point in the universal divine circuit, the circle we see and all this stuff, the circuitry reverses itself or inverses. Just like your eye your brain inverses an image because we see everything upside down, but it inverses it and then puts it in to what we see as normal or up and down. But cosmically, electrically, the higher realms, like alternating current, twists on itself. So you have a circle, but when you twist itself, it becomes a figure 8, right? And that's infinity symbol and all that good stuff. But you see that we are, so the energy comes in, it cycles around. This used to be one big circle, right? We showed you the circles before. And now this circle inverts on itself or twists, just like a rubber band, you just twist it on itself. It creates the 8. This 8 is just, it goes from higher frequency down into low frequency, but this is just an alternating current. If I were to stretch this out sideways, it's up and down sine waves, down, up, down, up, down, up. Does that make sense? I guess I should have drawn that to give you a visual, but if you just, it's alternating current, a sine wave up, sine wave down, sine wave up, sine wave down. And that's what the figure 8 is. So it inverts. So when we get into the higher realms, everything inverse, it's an inverse. The verse goes to an inverse, and then it goes into a reverse, which is adversity here on Earth. So what we think is bad is not really bad, it's just an inverse of verse. It's a little confusing, I understand it, but each week we're going to break this stuff down even further. And so the way I break it down and what we did, we talked about tea leaves, I Ching, tarot. I can translate all this secret grid into the tarot. Right? There's magician, the muse, or high priestess, the mother, matriarch. There's many names for it. Father, patriarch, the priest, the hierophant, the shaman, the guru. It's all the same. And then we have the lovers in choice. Then we have the chariot. Right? And then we have strength, hermit, wheel of fortune, justice, hangman, death, temptation or temperance, and then devil, temptation. Then we have the tower, the star, where we reconnect again. Out of this division, we reconnect to our higher selves, and then the moon, sun, judgment, and then the world, which means we complete the entire circuit or circuitry or circular motion from this to that. Right? And I'm going over this fast, so I know it may be fast for some of y'all. That's okay. You can go back and watch the video 100 times. I encourage you to do so. But why I'm going over this quickly, because that's what Tuesdays or Wednesdays class is, the tarot. Right? We're going to go over the tarot, and I'll put a comment. I always forget which one is which, Tuesday or Wednesday. To me, it's all the same in my head, but to break it down, I have to sort of keep track of that. From all the different classes, realms, tarot, manifestation. It's all the same, but it's all the different. Your car is all one car, but there's electric, fluids, mechanical, so on and so forth. So, but they all work in harmony. But I can work on each part of the car. Right? As a mechanic, I can work on each part of the car. And here I can work on the mechanics of the universe, the chemicals of the universe, and the electricity of the universe. Right? Soul mechanic, a soul chemist, and a soul electrician. Or all that wrapped up into one equals an electrical theologist. Right? So we'll go over each and every one of these. We're going to start doing the readings. And so how we throw the cards out in a reading, this grid is hardwired grid from that. So I can put, if you look at this as a blueprint, we'll go over this in detail in the tarot class. But let's say I throw out, we'll just stick with the major arcana, which are, there's major arcs and minor arcs. So we'll just say we're going to throw, and we'll just keep it as numbers right now. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But let's say I have 21 cards. The 7th card over here is chariot, which just means movement, balanced movement. Right? The energy's coming in balance. If it's not, it's erratic. So we just say it's coming in balance. But this is the strength card. Right? Strength is an endurance, right, or exhaustion, depending if it's light or shadow. But if I lay the cards out and the chariot comes on top of the blueprint, right, the cosmic blueprint, then I have the chariot over strength, right? And if that card comes in reverse, inverse, or verse, right, up, sideways, or down, depending on how we do a reading, depending on how we throw the bones, if you will, or the coins in I Ching, or read how the tea leaves, right? They're all laid out in a certain fashion. Right? So we're just fashioning these ions. And so we have, so the macro is the strength. And so we have strength in moving, right? The motivation, moving card, right? Balanced movement. So we have strength to move forward. That making sense? And again, we're going to get into detail, and I'm going to be doing tarot reading different than anyone else does anywhere that you've ever seen. And it's going to be powerful, right? So I encourage you to stay tuned to each one of these. And then I'm going to be having master classes. I'm going to be having continuation classes. I'll continue giving these classes out. But then there's going to be a private inner circle club. I'll give you part of this video, and then half that video is going to be cut off, and then if you want the rest of it, you got to go watch the rest. Right? That shows me you're dedicated. Right? It shows me you have devotion to increasing yourself. If you don't, then that's as far as you are willing to go in your life. But if you want to go further, then you have to exchange energy, i.e. money, or whatever this is, form through the internet, called digital currency, and then into my wallet. Right? Because I'm going to exchange that energy that you're giving me in ones and zeros, I'm going to change them into paper or gold or silver or crypto. Make sense? It's just energy exchange. But I'm going to be exchanging my knowledge, my wealth of knowledge, into the basics. I'll give the intro to people, and then I'll give them the medium realm stuff, but then you got to pay for the electrical stuff. All right? So we looked at that. And we looked at the Wheel of Fortune, and then we'll pick up, we looked at the dimensions and the gateways and the portals. We'll define, and we'll start on this next week and detail this out. And then again, we'll get into the 3, 6, and 9s and understanding why that's important. But I think that's enough for today, guys. I really appreciate you hanging in there. Newbies, I appreciate you showing up. Hopefully this is something that you don't know, or if you do know, that it's adding some pieces in that makes more sense to you. And I appreciate those who are continuing to watch, like, comment, and all that good stuff. And if you like this stuff, definitely share the videos. And we'll talk to you sooner.